Imagine walking away from one of the most famous legal battles in tech history. You've got $65 million.
Yeah, you're technically a centimillionaire.
Right. You should be popping champagne, celebrating.
Absolutely.
But for Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, the twins who sued Mark Zuckerberg, that win, it fell hollow.
It really did. They were being ridiculed everywhere, in the press.
And they felt the system itself, the legal system, the financial system was just rigged against them.
Corrupt, yeah.
Yeah.
Stacked. So the money, while huge, didn't fix that feeling of, well, losing something important. Principle.
It sounds like a really frustrating time for them.
Oh, definitely. They were painted as these entitled Harvard guys who blew their shot, even with all that cash.
And they found out pretty quickly that in Silicon Valley, that Winklevoss name
It
was a problem.
huge liability, which basically meant their core drive wanting to build things, create things, totally stalled.
So what do you do then when you're basically poison in the very industry you want to be part of?
You look elsewhere.
You find a new frontier, somewhere completely different.
Exactly. A place that promised to be the opposite of centralized tech and finance. Something decentralized, open.
Immutable, governed by math, not by gatekeepers.
And that brings us here. Welcome, everyone, to Book Talk Finance.
Today we're digging into a really gripping story. It's all about risk, betrayal, and this quest for a financial revolution.
Yeah, and all our insights today, they're drawn from the book Bitcoin Billionaires.
Which is this fantastic narrative account of how the Winklevoss twins went from Olympic rowers, post-Facebook fallout, to being pioneers in the crypto world.
It's based on tons of interviews, documents. The author really reconstructs the scenes. It's a story with, let's say, strong opinions on all sides.
Definitely contentious. It really tracks their transformation, taking this huge public defeat and just, leveraging it into something totally new, revolutionary even.
So let's start right there. At that moment of transformation, the Facebook settlement negotiation back in 2011.
Their lawyer was apparently thrilled with the $65 million cash offer.
Yeah, called it Christmas in February. I mean, imagine the legal fees on that.
Huh. But the twins, they weren't thinking about the cash. Not really.
No. Their dad, who was this math whiz and entrepreneur, had drilled into them this idea of principle.
Winning had to happen the right way for the right reasons. That's what mattered.
So just taking a check, it felt like giving up on the moral high ground they felt they deserved.
Which brings us to this incredible moment, the one where their lawyers thought they were, and I think this is a direct quote, batshit crazy.
Huh, yeah. Because Tyler suddenly just says, no cash,
Mm-hmm.
or not all cash.
Right. They'll take the bulk of the settlement, around $45 million, in Facebook stock.
Not cash. Stock in the company they felt cheated them.
And here's maybe a key financial insight, right? Sometimes when you're dealing with something revolutionary, having that option, that potential upside, it beats immediate cash.
It goes against standard advice, but yeah, for them it wasn't just profit, it was philosophical.
It's like trying to symbolically get back to where they felt they should have been all along as founders.
An incredible gamble.
Yeah.
And it paid off spectacularly. That stock became one of the best investments ever, made them far wealthier.
But even then, even with more money, they still couldn't get back into Silicon Valley's good graces.
No, that door was firmly shut. That's the real pivot point here.
They start Winklevoss Capital, ready to invest, ready to build again.
And nothing. Crickets. They'd fly out for meetings, get blown off. Oh, we're oversubscribed.
Why? Because even in Menlo Park, the heart of it all, the Winklevoss name was still, as the book puts it, the kiss of death.
All because of the Zuckerberg narrative. They were radioactive in that world.
Poison in the ecosystem, yeah. And these guys were built to compete, to build.
But they couldn't do it near Zuckerberg's orbit. They needed something completely new, a clean slate.
A place where their past didn't matter as much.
Exactly. So they're angry about the past, frustrated with the present. What finally pushes them towards something radically different?
You'd think it would be some big financial revelation, right?
Yeah, but no. It was a vacation.
In Ibiza, of all places, in 2012. And they're just furious because their villa deposit is taking days to arrive.
It sounds so trivial, but that little frustration, it perfectly highlighted the problem for them.
You can send messages, emails, Facebook updates instantly, globally, almost for free.
Right. Decentralized, easy communication. But move your own money.
Forget it. You're stuck in this ancient, slow, expensive banking system.
Full of middlemen. Visa, MasterCard, governments, banks, all taking a cut, slowing things down, balkanized.
And right then, this salesman, David Azar, approaches them on the beach.
Perfect timing. And he pitches them Bitcoin.
Something they'd probably never seriously considered before.
And a czar's pitch. It hit every single one of their frustrations about centralized power.
He described it as peer-to-peer, open source. Democratic, even.
Based on pure math, not human decisions or authorities.
And the killer feature for them, given their history, it was designed to be unstoppable.
You couldn't shut it down without stopping the internet itself? For guys who just battled a system they saw as corruptible and centralized?
That must have sounded incredible, like the antidote.
And what's really interesting is how quickly they got it, intellectually.
That math background from their dad probably kicked in.
Yeah, they saw the mathematical beauty, the elegance of the blockchain.
That public, decentralized ledger, transactions recorded forever, open for anyone to see. No single point of failure or control.
They didn't just see digital cash, they saw something much bigger.
They called it Gold 2.0.
Which is a great analogy, actually. Think about physical gold. It holds value, sure.
But try buying coffee with a gold bar. It's useless for daily stuff.
Exactly. Bitcoin, though, it has that programmed scarcity. Just like gold, only 21 million will ever exist.
It's way more divisible, down to tiny fractions.
And you can send it instantly, anywhere in the world, like an email. Try emailing a gold bar.
Right. That core logic, that potential, it convinced them this was it.
So they decided to go big. Really big and early.
They started pouring money in, eventually over $11 million.
With this crazy ambitious goal to own 1% of all Bitcoin in existence at the time.
Which was probably the single biggest bet anyone had made on virtual currency back then.
Absolutely audacious. But okay, they're buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
How? Where? They needed help.
They needed infrastructure, which led them to BitInstant.
And its CEO, the 22-year-old coding prodigy Charlie Shrem.
Running the whole thing from his mom's basement.
Seriously, it was that early. And his partners included ideological investors like Roger Ver.
Bitcoin Jesus. A real libertarian, almost anarchist type.
It was the definition of the Wild West phase. Messy, unregulated, full of true believers.
Okay, so they've made this huge bet, partnered with these characters. Then what happens?
Then the world gives them the ultimate terrifying validation. March 2013, Cyprus.
Ah, the banking crisis, that was huge.
Seismic. The Cypriot government needed a bailout, and the proposal involved a haircut.
Which sounds gentle, but it meant seizing depositor funds, a levy on private bank accounts.
Yeah, potentially up to 50% for accounts over $100,000. They actually closed the banks to stop people from pulling their money out.
Imagine that. Your money in a regulated bank, suddenly not safe. Not really yours.
It sent shockwaves globally, and it proved Bitcoin's core point overnight.
Suddenly, this decentralized, borderless currency that no government could freeze or seize.
Looked incredibly attractive. The price of Bitcoin exploded, hit 266 calories, crashed, went back up. It was volatile, but the message was clear.
This wasn't just theory anymore. Centralized systems could fail you.
Exactly. So the Winklevoss bet looked genius. But now, with $11 million on the line, security became everything.
They couldn't just leave it on an exchange or a regular computer. Too risky.
Way too risky. Hackers were already a problem. So they devised this incredibly elaborate cold storage system, keeping the private keys totally offline.
This part sounds like something out of a spy movie. Seriously.
It kind of was. They used air-gapped laptops, physically removed the Wi-Fi cards, no connection to any network.
Creating a totally isolated digital environment.
Then they generated the master private key using actual physical dice, hexadecimal dice, to ensure randomness.
Okay, wow. So they have the key.
Then they sharded it. Split the key into 3 separate, useless on their own pieces, code names, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie.
You needed all 3 to get the funds back.
Right. Then they made 12 paper copies of these 3 shards.
Paper copy.
Yeah, printed them out, put them in special, waterproof, fire-resistant envelopes.
And where did they put those?
This is the best part. 12 different safety deposit boxes.
Okay.
In 3 different banks, spread across 4 distinct regions of the U.S.
That is intense. A physical fortress for digital money?
Designed to stop hackers and physical thieves. And location? Multiple banks. Insane redundancy.
And the final step.
The reverse heist. They took sledgehammers.
Seriously? Sledgehammers?
Yep. And ceremonially destroyed all the hardware used to create the keys. The laptops, the routers, the printer.
Leaving absolutely no digital trace. Wow. That's next level paranoia, but also discipline.
Discipline preparation matching the scale of the risk. They'd secured the money, but the company, BitInstant, that was still messy.
Right, the partners, they started getting worried, didn't they?
Yeah, the ideological stuff was becoming a problem. Roger Ver's extreme libertarianism, Charlie Shrem's, let's say, casual approach to rules and compliance.
And the dark side of Bitcoin was becoming obvious too. Silk Road.
The online black market. Drugs, guns, even murder for hire, all funded with Bitcoin. That wasn't the gold 2.0 image they wanted.
But wait, hold on. Weren't they against the established system? Why would they suddenly care about rules and regulations, the same kind of rules that bit them in the Facebook case?
That's the critical shift. They realized if Bitcoin was ever going to be truly mainstream, if it was going to attract Wall Street money.
Which was their ultimate goal.
Exactly. It couldn't stay the currency of criminals and anarchists. It needed legitimacy.
Coming from Harvard, rowing, finance, they understood regulated markets.
So they started pushing Charlie hard towards compliance. Know your customer rules KYC, getting proper licenses.
KYC is huge, right? Verifying who your users actually are. Without that, it's a haven for illicit activity.
Precisely. They helped Charlie get a deal with OboPay to essentially rent licenses. They knew Bitcoin had to learn that some rules mattered if it wanted to grow up.
But Charlie, he wasn't really on board with that, was
No, he loved the rebellious phase. He was traveling, partying, kind of ignoring the compliance stuff.
And eventually that caught up with him.
Big time. January 2014, he lands at JFK Airport
And gets arrested.
by a combined task force. IRS, FBI, DEA, the works.
What were the specific charges?
Primarily, failure to file suspicious activity reports, SARS. Banks have to file these if they suspect transactions are linked to crime.
And BitInstant hadn't been doing that properly.
Especially concerning one major reseller who was allegedly funneling money to Silk Road, structuring transactions to avoid detection.
So Shrem took the fall for that operational sloppiness and alleged connection.
Yeah, he ended up serving nearly a year in federal prison.
Yeah.
A real cautionary tale about crypto's early days clashing with the law.
And with Charlie gone, what happened to the twins' involvement?
That was the final pivot. They realized they couldn't just invest in the infrastructure anymore. They had to build it themselves the right way.
So they filed paperwork with the SEC.
Yep, a registration statement for the Winklevoss Bitcoin Trust. Ticker symbol.
Okay.
COI, i.e. an ETF, basically.
An exchange-traded fund to bring Bitcoin to traditional markets.
Exactly. This was their big move to legitimize Bitcoin, to remove the stigma, bring it to the masses, and importantly, bring it under the eye of regulators.
A huge step away from the basement operations and towards Wall Street.
They were shifting from just being early investors to becoming architects of the new financial system, builders.
And that really defines their legacy since then, doesn't it?
Absolutely. They went on to launch Gemini.
Their own cryptocurrency exchange.
Built from the ground up on 4 pillars they kept repeating: licensing, compliance, security, and technology.
Everything BitInstant wasn't, essentially.
Pretty much. They finally stepped out of the shadow of Facebook. They proved they were, using that Teddy Roosevelt quote, the man, actually in the arena.
Covered in dust and sweat. Striving valiantly, taking the hits, but building something new.
Their whole story is just this amazing mix. Financial guts, incredible foresight, but also that meticulous, almost obsessive preparation.
Taking that initial, very public defeat and turning it into something, well, revolutionary.
But maybe the most interesting twist is who ultimately had to acknowledge their vision.
You mean Zuckerberg?
Think about it. Years later, 2018, Mark Zuckerberg himself is talking about key future trends.
And what does he mention?
Encryption and cryptocurrency. He calls them counter trends that take power away from centralized systems.
Like Facebook.
Exactly. The very empire he built, he had to acknowledge the power of the decentralized idea the twins had championed.
Wow. Okay, so we'll leave you with this thought to chew on.
What was the Winklevoss's ultimate revenge? Was it the $45 million in Facebook stock that ballooned in value?
Or was it forcing the founder of Facebook, years later, to publicly admit the power and potential of the very revolution they helped kickstart? A revolution aimed squarely at the kind of centralized power he represented.
Something to definitely think about as this space continues to evolve.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this book talk.
Yeah, it's been great digging into this one.
For more discussions and talks looking at the stories shaping finance and technology today, please subscribe. We'd love to have you back with us next time.